Welcome to a lesson on congruent triangles. This is exercise 7E in your Cambridge textbook. Okay, so I'm going to answer a series of questions to help you understand. Define congruent. What does it mean? What does the word congruent mean? Congruent means identical, the same, particularly the shape and the size. Okay, two figures are congruent if they are identical in shape and size. Their shape and size. So what are congruent triangles? Well, they're triangles which are identical in shape and size. This means that if you have two triangles which are congruent, then the matching sides are equal and matching angles are equal. So for example, this triangle here, and I can just select it. Obviously I copy pasted it so we know for a fact that those two triangles are congruent. The point really is they have the same A, B, C, D, E, F, and as you can imagine, sorry, 1 second, 1, 2, 3, 2. So their angles, the corresponding angles, are identical. A will equal D, same angle, because it's the same triangle. It's congruent triangles, basically the same triangle. Just, there's two different triangles obviously, but they're exactly the same as each other. Exactly, they're identical in shape and size, in angles and sides. Angles are exactly the same as each other, sides are exactly the same as each other. And that's what congruent triangles are. So how do we know when two triangles are congruent? Well, ideally, you would want to have all this information. Okay, all of this information. You'd know every single angle and you'd know every single side. And you can easily conclude, oh yeah, these triangles are congruent because all of the angles are the same as each other and all of the sides are the same as each other. The problem is, however, you won't always have all of the information. And the idea is, there are 4 sets of information. There's minimum standards. If you have any of these 4 sets of information, then you can conclude that two triangles are congruent. For example, the first of these is S, S, S. If you have two triangles, right? Let's say you have two triangles. One triangle is there, and the other triangle is here. And you know for a fact that, let's say this is 4, 3, that's 4, and that's 5. And this is 3, that's 4, and that's 5. Then you can conclude without knowing anything about the angles. All we know are, those two triangles have 3 corresponding sides which are the same as each other. 3 identical sides, 3, 4, 5. Then we can conclude that those two triangles are congruent. We know for a fact that they're congruent. And I can demonstrate this. 1 second. So for example, let's say, I've got a triangle set up over there, and I'm going to set up another triangle. And so you have like this, like that, and like that. Now, this is a random triangle, obviously. I haven't restricted anything, and as you can see, I can move it around, and the triangle will be, any shape I want it to be. But let's say I choose this, and I constrain input, and I say, oh, that's going to be, let's say, 4 centimeters long, 4. And still, this triangle can be absolutely any shape I want. So right now, we've only got one matching side. I've got this side and that side. So they're both 4. That's all I know right now. And clearly, these two triangles are not congruent to each other because this triangle can be absolutely anything. What if I constrain the second side and I say, oh, that has to be, let's say, 3. So now I've got a 3 and I've got a 4. I've got 2 sides. I've got an S and an S, SS, right? But that's not sufficient because while being 3 and 4, I can have all sorts of weird and wonderful shapes, all different types of triangles. But as soon as I say the third side is 5, remember 3, 4, 5? That triangle is 3, 4, 5. As soon as I say this is 3, 4, 5, now look, it doesn't matter what I do, I can't change the shape of that triangle. This triangle is identical. Those two triangles are completely identical. Absolutely identical. So yeah, side, side, side. And so you can see that's the first test. If you know 3 sides of one triangle are identical to the 3 sides of another triangle, then you can conclude that the 2 triangles are congruent. And we say the test for that, they're congruent to each other by virtue of SSS. Okay, and I'll show you how to state this mathematically in a bit. I'm just going to cover the other proofs. So we've done SSS. The second one you need to know is SAS. If you have 2 triangles, and make sure you listen carefully, you have side and you have side. You know, I'll draw numbers. Let's say that's 4, and let's say that's. If I'm going to draw isosceles, I should probably draw them isosceles. No. If I tell you that this is 4 centimeters and that's 4 centimeters, and let's say this is, I don't know, 40 degrees, and I tell you this is also 4 and that's 4 and this is 40. Okay, as soon as I give you these pieces of information, side, angle, side, note that this is side, angle, side, this is a side, angle, side, then those 2 triangles are congruent. This is the second minimum set of standards. So if 2 triangles have 3 sides which are congruent to each other, 2 triangles have 3 sides which are the same as each other, that's congruent. And if you have 2 triangles which have identical side angle sides, then they're also congruent. And just take this on faith. I don't want this video to be too long, so I won't prove this one. And then also, because there's 2 more as well. The next one, okay, before I go any further, notice that it cannot be ASS. The angle has to be between the 2 sides. Side, angle, side. We say it has to be the included angle. Included angle. Okay? The angle has to be between the 2 sides for us to use this proof. We can't use SAS unless the angle is between the 2 sides. It's really, really important. Make sure you understand this. It has to be the included angle. Okay, the next thing that the third proof that we're going to cover is called angle side. An angle side just says, well, any 2 angles, absolutely any 2 angles, and the corresponding side. So for example, let's say this is 100, and let's say this is 30, and that's also 100, and this is 30, and you have a side, any side, it doesn't really matter. Let's say, for example, that's 7 centimeters, right? And let's say that's 7 centimeters. Then angle side, by virtue of angle side, we can say for a fact that those 2 triangles are congruent. Now, it's worth noting here that as soon as you have 2 angles in a triangle, you automatically know the third one as well, because all of the angles sum up to 180. If that's 100 and that's 30, this has to be 50, because they all have to add up to 180, right? That's 50. So really, you know, your angle, and then you have a side as well. So if all the angles are equal, and a single side is, you know, a corresponding side is also equal, then yeah, those 2 triangles will be congruent. Now, make sure you understand that the side which is congruent has to be like the corresponding, the matching side. So for example, you can't say that, you know, this is 5 centimeters, let's say. Notice that the 130 and the 5 centimeters is between them, so to speak. And then you say, okay, this is 5 centimeters. Those 2 triangles will not be congruent because it's not the matching side. You need to have corresponding. Corresponding means matching. Matching sides and matching angles have to be equal in order to apply these tests. The last test is the Rhs test. RHS. The RHS test is a bit of an exception. It only applies to right-angled triangles. Right-angled triangle. That's what the R stands for. Right-angled triangles. The H stands for the hypotenuse, and hopefully you remember what the hypotenuse is. It is the side opposite the 90-degree angle. So if that's 5 and that's 5, that's a right angle triangle. And you have another side, in the other side, let's say that's 4 and that's 4. Those two triangles are also congruent. Okay, in a right angle triangle, if you have the hypotenuse and you have another side, then those two triangles are also congruent. If there's any questions, more than welcome to ask me on Slack. Inshallah, I'll be able to help and explain it to you. But okay, now that we've done the basics casually in normal English, how do we do all of this? How do we write it down mathematically speaking? And please don't underestimate this. This is something you do have to learn. You have to write it like this. It's not optional. It's fairly straightforward. Okay, the way it works is it's like a formula type of thing. We always write the same thing. So we write in triangle, and then so we're trying to prove that these two triangles are congruent, okay? And we're going to do it, it's almost like a formula. I would say in triangle ABC, ABC, and triangle MNP, MNP. Okay, this is how we always start off. And now we're going to write down 3 lines, 3 proofs. So over here, it's side angle side, side angle side, side angle side. So we know those two triangles are congruent. So I'm going to write, S, A, S. And then I'm just going to write over here. What's the side? First side, that's equal AC. AC is equal to, the 18 is equal to NP. NP. And in brackets, you have to write a geometrical reason. Well, in this case, it's been given to us, so we just write given. If there was some other reason you think that they're equal, you write it down over here. And that's all you have to do. And then the angle, 62 degrees. So angle CAB, is equal to angle. Now notice that CA was the 18, so we do have to write P, N, M. And again, it's just been given to us, so we just write given. Now, just a word of warning here, just hopefully it explains something. Notice that the angle is between CAB, so write CAB. And then over here, the angle is in the middle, right? So P and M. The angle letter, this is going to be in the middle. N is in the middle. And over here, the angle is A is going to be in the middle. Just be careful of that. I see a lot of students make silly mistakes on this. Okay, anyway, moving on. And lastly, we need to have the final side, which is AB. So we write AB is equal to 25. And so we'll write NM here. NM. And again, it's been given to us. So that's 4 lines, 1, 2, 3, 4. And 5th line is our conclusion. So we write, therefore, triangle ABC is congruent to. Notice, there are 3 of these lines. Okay, when something is equal, we just write like this. When they're really equal, we write like that. That's a bit of a joke, but it actually just means is congruent to. Rather than, it meaning is equal to. These 3 lines, these 3 horizontal lines means is congruent to. So over here we're saying, therefore, triangle ABC is congruent to. And we will write NMP. Triangle NMP. And then in the brackets we just write SAS. And we are done. So I'll do another one fairly quickly, hopefully. So that's RHS. So I'll write in triangle, and I'll try AXT and triangle G and AX. X was the 90-degree angle, so I'm just going to write Y here, and then I'll write E. And then I'll write my first line. Sorry about that. Anyway, so in triangle AXT and triangle GYE, RHS, so right angle, X is a right angle, R, and that's going to be hypotenuse, and that's our side. And I'll note the same thing if you R, hypotenuse is that, and the side is that. So let's do the right angle. RHS, And so angle AXT is equal to angle GYE. And the reason, well, it was given to us. And hypotenuse, well, AT is equal to EG. Reason, because it was given to us. And finally, the side XT is equal to EY. And again, it was given to us. And then, therefore, triangle AXT is congruent to triangle GYE. And by reason of RHS. And I'm done. It's very formulaic. It's structured. This is like a mathematical paragraph. We're proving it mathematically. So we're saying this is our introduction in triangle AXT and triangle GYE, and then we list out 3 facts. We need 3 facts because you need R, H, and S, right? So we give R, we give H, we give S, and we do our conclusion. Therefore, this triangle is congruent to that triangle, and the reason, the law, so to speak, that we've used is RHS. Last one, and this is side, side, side. So in triangle, let's see, MRV, and triangle, C, my daughter's saying C. So M was between 24 and 19. So it's supposed to be S, actually. S. And then we did R. R is between 24 and 16. 24 and 16, so it's going to be C and then P. So we'll do SCP. In those 2 triangles. And let's do the 16 one first. RV is equal to CP. And because it's given. And then, and look, you can write S over here, S over there, S over there, and then we'll do our conclusion at the end. Anyway, RV, so we've done the 19 one. No, we've done the 16 one. Let's do the 19 one. So 19 is MV. MV is equal to PS because it was given. And then, so we've done the 19. And then we have the 24 left over. So MR is equal to CS because, again, it's given to us. And therefore, triangle MRV is congruent to triangle SCP by virtue of SSS. And so that's it. That's it for today. I hope you understood most, if not all of it. If you have any questions, please ask me on Slack. I'm more than happy to do a Zoom session if needed. And best of luck with your homework. So as always, we do the homework as marked in the book. We are doing exercise 7E. Best of luck.